In the United States, every 11 seconds, an adult over the age of 65 is treated in an emergency room for a fall that, for nearly one-third of them, will lead to a serious injury and a profound loss of independence. This is a shocking, relentless statistic. But what if this widespread decline in stability is not primarily a story about weakening muscles? What if it is a story about a communication breakdown between the body and the brain, a neurological static that can be cleared? And what if there was a simple, 5-minute daily sequence designed specifically to reset this connection? The experience is deeply personal and universally understood. A moment of hesitation at the top of a staircase. A sudden, unexplained lurch to the side while walking on a perfectly flat sidewalk. A subtle but persistent feeling that the ground beneath one's feet is no longer a trusted partner. This is the beginning of the great unbalancing. It is a gradual erosion of confidence that can cause an individual to shrink their own world, turning down invitations, avoiding new places, and slowly retreating into a smaller, safer, but less vibrant existence. This is not a failure of will. It is a predictable, biological process. It is a story about two silent, invisible systems that have worked flawlessly for decades and are now beginning to send corrupted data. The first of these systems is buried deep within the inner ear. It is the vestibular system. Imagine a highly sophisticated gyroscope, an organic accelerometer made of 3 semicircular canals filled with fluid. As the head moves, this fluid shifts, bending tiny, hair-like sensors. These sensors send instantaneous, precise information to the brain about rotation, acceleration, and your head's orientation in space. It is the master system of equilibrium. After the age of 55, this elegant system begins to show its age. The number of nerve cells in the vestibular system can decrease by as much as 40%. Microscopic calcium carbonate crystals, called otoconia, which help detect gravity, can become dislodged and float into the wrong canals, sending chaotic, confusing signals that the brain interprets as intense dizziness or vertigo. The signals that do get through are simply slower, arriving a few critical milliseconds too late for the brain to make an instant correction. This is only half of the equation. The second system is woven throughout the entire body. It is called the proprioceptive system. This is the vast network of sensory nerves located in your muscles, tendons, joints, and the skin, especially on the soles of your feet. Proprioception is the body's internal GPS. It is the sense that allows you to know where your limbs are in space without looking at them. It's the reason you can walk in total darkness, touch your finger to your nose with your eyes closed, or apply the perfect amount of pressure to a car's brake pedal without thinking. It is the body's silent awareness of itself. And just like the vestibular system, it degrades over time. Nerve endings, particularly in the ankles and feet, become less sensitive. The protective myelin sheath that insulates the nerves can thin, causing the electrical signals to travel more slowly and less efficiently. The once crisp, high-fidelity data stream from your feet and joints becomes muted, like a radio station drifting out of tune. The brain receives a fuzzy, delayed map of where the body is and how it is moving. These two systems work in a silent, perfect partnership. But when one begins to falter, the brain receives conflicting data, creating a neurological storm. Later in this video, we will reveal the one common household item that can accelerate the retraining of both systems simultaneously. The brain, in its incredible wisdom, tries to make sense of this conflicting information. The vestibular system might be screaming, "We are tilting dangerously to the left," while the proprioceptive system murmurs a delayed, "All is well, we are stable." That moment of dizziness, that brief sense of disorientation, is the brain trying to reconcile two contradictory reports. It's a neurological reboot. The hesitation you feel is not a weakness. It is your brain pausing, unable to trust the data it's being fed. This neurological confusion is the true source of the fear of falling. The fear is not in your head, it is in your nervous system. That profound anxiety when walking on an uneven surface is a completely rational response to your brain telling you that its primary stability sensors are offline or unreliable. The hesitation at the top of the stairs is a brain protecting itself from bad data. It is a survival instinct. The conventional wisdom offered to combat this is almost always the same. Strengthen your legs. Do more squats. Practice standing on one foot. While leg strength is undeniably important for overall health, focusing on it exclusively to solve a balance problem is like upgrading a car's engine to fix a faulty steering alignment. Strength is useless without control, and control is a neurological function, not purely a muscular one. Standing on one leg while gripping a countertop for dear life does not effectively retrain the brain. It trains the body to brace and to rely on external support. It can even reinforce the brain's dependence on the visual and tactile systems, further ignoring the quiet, corrupted signals from the inner ear and the joints. To truly restore stability, one must stop shouting at the muscles and start whispering to the nerves. It requires a different approach, not a workout, but a calibration. Coming up, we will introduce the first of 3 simple movements for the 5-minute reset. The first move requires nothing but a wall and focuses entirely on recalibrating your ankle's proprioceptive sensors. The foundation of this reset is the principle of neuroplasticity. This is the brain's scientifically proven ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. The brain can learn, and it can relearn. By performing specific, precise movements, we can intentionally send clear, repetitive, high-quality signals along these aging pathways. This targeted stimulation encourages the brain to pay attention again, to remap its connections, and to rebuild the trust with its own sensory systems. This is not about exhaustion. It is about intention. The first movement is called the proprioceptive wake-up. It is designed to isolate and amplify the signals coming from the thousands of nerve endings in your ankles and feet. Begin by standing a foot or 2 from a wall, facing it. Place your hands lightly on the wall for balance. Your feet should be about hip-width apart, pointed straight ahead. The goal here is not to support your weight, but simply to have a safe touch point. Now, very slowly, begin to shift your weight forward, rising up onto the balls of your feet. Go as high as you comfortably can, feeling the muscles in your calves engage. Hold this position for a count of 3. Then, just as slowly, rock back, lowering your heels and lifting your toes off the floor. Feel the stretch in your shins. Hold this for a count of 3. Repeat this slow, deliberate rocking motion. Forward onto the toes, backward onto the heels. The movement itself is simple. The neurological key comes in the next step. After 5 repetitions of the rocking motion, come to a stop on the balls of your feet, in the highest position you can hold. Now, for just 3 seconds, close your eyes. In that moment of darkness, the brain is robbed of its most dominant sense, vision. It can no longer use the vertical lines of the wall or the horizon to orient itself. It is forced, by necessity, to search for other information. In that silence, it must listen to the thousands of tiny signals coming from the pressure sensors on the soles of your feet and the stretch receptors in your ankle joints. You are forcing the brain to re-engage with its proprioceptive system. You may feel a slight wobble. This is not failure. This is the system rebooting. This is learning. Open your eyes, lower your feet, and rest. You will perform this eyes closed hold 3 times in total. This first movement reawakens the body's ground-level sensors. But what about the master controller in your inner ear? The next movement directly challenges the vestibular system. And surprisingly, it involves a simple head turn that most people have been doing wrong their entire lives. The second movement is called gaze stabilization. This exercise directly targets the vestibular ocular reflex, or VOR. The VOR is what allows your eyes to stay fixed on a target while your head is moving. It's why the world doesn't appear to bounce and blur every time you walk. A delayed VOR is a primary source of dizziness and disorientation. To retrain it, we must decouple head and eye movement with intention. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart in a comfortable, stable stance. Extend your right arm straight out in front of you at shoulder height and raise your thumb as if you were about to hitchhike. Your focus for this entire exercise will be the top of your thumbnail. Stare at it intently. Now, keeping your eyes locked onto your thumb, slowly begin to turn your head from left to right as if you were shaking your head. No. Move only within a comfortable range of motion. The speed should be slow and controlled, not fast or jerky. The goal is to keep your thumb in sharp, perfect focus the entire time. If it becomes blurry, you are moving your head too fast. Do this for 20 to 30 seconds. This simple act forces the brain to use the signals from your inner ear's vestibular system to control your eye muscles. You are re-establishing a direct line of communication, telling the brain, ignore the movement of the skull, listen to the fluid in the canals. After 30 seconds, return your head to the center and rest for a moment. Now, we will reverse the action. Keep your head perfectly still, facing forward. This time, you will move your arm, sweeping your thumb from left to right. Your task is to follow the moving thumb with your eyes, without moving your head at all. Track it smoothly, back and forth for another 30 seconds. This second phase reinforces the brain's ability to distinguish between self-motion and object motion. This simple act of separating head and eye movement is a powerful signal to the brain's balance center. It forces the cerebellum to stop relying on blurry visual shortcuts and listen once again to the pure, raw data coming from the inner ear. It is the beginning of reclaiming a stable world. But to lock in these gains, both systems, the proprioceptive and the vestibular, must be forced to communicate under a very specific, controlled stress. The third and final movement does exactly this, using that one common household item we mentioned earlier. A simple bed pillow. Now, you're probably thinking you know where this is going. Every physical therapist, every YouTube video says the same thing. Stand on an unstable surface to challenge your balance. And you're not wrong, but you're also not entirely right. That explanation is the what, but it completely misses the why. And the why is the entire secret. What if I told you that for millions of people, deteriorating balance has very little to do with the muscles in their legs or the fluid in their ears? What if it's a ghost, a learned response burned into your nervous system by a single, forgotten event? A slip on the ice years ago, a trip over a curb, a moment of dizziness that sent a jolt of panic through your body. Your balance system isn't just hardware, it's run by software, and that software can get a virus, a fear virus. From that moment on, your brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, starts overprotecting you. It becomes hypersensitive to the slightest sway. The normal, gentle corrections your body makes 1,000 times a day are now flagged as imminent threats. Your brain screams, "Falling!" when you are merely adjusting. That panic signal triggers a stiff, jerky overcorrection in your muscles. And in a cruel twist of irony, this very overcorrection is what actually causes you to lose your balance. You are not falling because your body is failing. You are falling because your brain is panicking. This pillow is not here to challenge your muscles. It's here to re-educate your brain. It is a controlled environment to prove to your amygdala that it is wrong. We are going to teach it the difference between a wobble and a catastrophe. This final movement is called the stability reset. Place the pillow on the floor. Step onto it with one foot, aiming for the center. Don't try to lock your knee. Keep a soft, slight bend in it. Raise your other foot just off the floor. Now here is the critical instruction, the part that changes everything. Your goal is not to stay perfectly still. That's impossible. And trying to do so just feeds the panic cycle. Your goal is to feel the wobble. Welcome it. Feel the tiny shifts, the micro movements. Your brain will start to chatter. This is unstable. This is dangerous. Let it. Your job is to stay with that feeling, to ride the edge of instability for as long as you can, calmly. Maybe it's 5 seconds, maybe it's 15, and when the wobble becomes too great, when you feel you are about to lose control, do not flail. Do not windmill your arms. Simply step off. That's it. You step off. You have proven to your brain that the imminent disaster it predicted was nothing more than a simple, controlled step to safety. You have just rewritten the code. You experienced the maximum alert signal, but the outcome was not a fall. It was a calm, safe landing. Repeat this 5 times on your right foot, then switch and perform 5 more on your left. Don't focus on time. Focus on the feeling of the wobble, followed by the feeling of a safe, controlled step. You are using the data from your reawakened feet and your retuned inner ear, and you are layering on a new, crucial piece of information for your brain's command center. The alert was a false alarm. We are safe. This integration is where true, unshakable stability is born. It's the moment your body and mind stop fighting each other and begin to trust each other again. But this recalibration of the fear response doesn't just affect your physical balance. It begins to leak into other areas of your life, because the pathway you're clearing is the very same one that governs our response to all forms of perceived threat. That feeling of vertigo when you look at your to-do list, the lurch in your stomach before a difficult conversation, that is the exact same neural circuit firing. It's your brain screaming, "This is unstable," when you are merely being challenged, when you are simply on the edge of growth. And the solution is the same, not to rigidly brace against the feeling, but to breathe into it, to feel the uncertainty without letting it become a catastrophe, to learn that an emotional wobble doesn't have to end in a fall. You can simply take a calm, controlled step to solid ground, reassess, and choose your next move with clarity instead of panic. What we've done today is more than a set of exercises. We've reestablished a conversation between your senses, your body, and your mind. You learn to listen to your inner ear, to trust the feeling in your feet, and to calm the panicked voice in your head. This isn't just about preventing falls. It's about building a fundamental trust in your own ability to navigate the world. It is the practice of becoming unshakable from the inside out, a stability that allows you to stand firm on uneven ground, whether that ground is a plush pillow or the unpredictable terrain of your own life. This is the foundation, but your health is a story with many chapters, from the food that fuels your brain to the sleep that resets your soul. To continue this journey with us and discover the simple, powerful truths behind living a vibrant life, click that subscribe button. Join our community. It's time to stop fighting your body and start understanding it. Welcome to How to Be Healthy.